remember we used to pray and wish upon a star. Now we ain't got no faith, 'cause the sky wish it wasn't so cold in this bottom of mine. When my eyes are closed, they overanalyze. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side, taking me slowly to the borderline. It was so long ago, but still I'm traumatized. I don't even know the light before my eyes. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side. And no one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows the effect it had on me. And no one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows but me. Thinking about when you went away, it's so hard. I wonder what you'd have to say if you sent us a card. Ooh, sometimes I feel like I'm in a play and I don't know my part. Well, maybe if we meet again, I can make a start. Wish it wasn't so cold in this bottom of mine. When my eyes are closed, they overanalyze. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side, taking me slowly to the borderline. It was so long ago, but still I'm traumatized. I don't even know the light before my eyes. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side. No one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows the effect it had on me. And no one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows but me. Think about you every day, where you are. Oops, I almost didn't unmute myself. Hello, everyone. It's Tea Time with Shenanigans. I have got a great live for you guys this evening. I've got Damien in the house. You guys probably recognize him from chats, and I will be bringing him up in just a moment. First, I want to say hello to you all for coming in. I know that you could be doing something else, but you decided to join me, so I appreciate you very much. And thank you to our new members and those who gifted out the new memberships. I'll be doing a membership live this Friday, so look forward to that, guys. Right, let's get started. Let's see who's all in the house tonight. Squiddo said, see you later in 4 hours at 1 o'clock. I made it on time. See what happens when I have a guest? I actually make it on time. Mr. Hemi, you're not still banned. I just meant to delete your silly comment the other day, but I banned you instead, so sorry about that. Next time, don't make a silly comment. Carrie, good to see you. Lynn, good to see you. Shy, good to see you. TJ's mom, Betty Knight. RT Man, how's it going? Good to see you. Hope all is well. Callie in the house. OG, Christine, good to see you. Tammy, Christy, Bittersweet, Jane Vanderbeck, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Glad you could make the live today. My babies are my ones. Thank you, Jane, for gifting that one membership. I appreciate you. Carla, Strawberry Wine, and Sue Oilers, good to see you. Amy, Lynn, I don't know if I said hello already. I'm sorry. House Music, hola. Hello, mate. Superstar Mod, good to see you, mate. Carla, Sherry Lee Thomas, I think I'm getting close. Denise, Esnes Hazard, afternoon. Afternoon to you. Joyous, thank you. Salty Suspects, Vicky Palmer, and Daphne's Case Files. Yes, I was waiting for you. No, I've actually been like bamboozled by the amount of information coming my way. I won't even lie. Didn't even have time to put my eyes on today. So you're seeing it raw. Seeing it raw. Cindy B, good to catch you. All right, Trail Hiker, Holly Jolly. Well, you're all here tonight. Well, thank you guys. Jesse. Right, I think I'm getting to the close to the end here. All right. Jesse's a new member. Awesome. Mildred. All right. Happy Turtle. All right. I think I'm good now. Mayflower, Acadian Girl. Okay. If I haven't said hello, I will try to say hello as I go on. Missy, I got to say hello to you though. Yes, you made it. I'm so happy. I'm so glad you made it. Awesome. Lady Allen, Hamoudi, Salam Alaikum. All right. Tracy, Nature Walks. Cynthia, CJ, Terry Van Horn, Lurker Check-in. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, cool as a cucumber. Yes, they were. I'm not going to touch on that today, but if anybody watches Dispersing the Fog, Paul and Adam were very interesting. I now know what you were talking about. Shenanigans is what you were talking about. Shenanigans indeed. All right. I'm going to bring in Damien. As I said, I'm sure that you recognize his name from being in the chats. He's been following the Jack and Lilly case along with us all, and he's been integral in some boots on the ground too. So I'm going to bring him in now, and everybody say hello. Hello, Damien.
Hi.
How are you?
Nervous, but doing good. Doing good. I told myself I would never come up on a live, but for you, I will. And I'm
Oh,
comfortable with everyone in the chat. So,
thank you very much. I appreciate you coming up. I'm glad that you were happy enough to come up with me. I appreciate you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
well, yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm a veteran of the Canadian Forces. I spent 3 years in the infantry, retired out from that about 14 years ago. Moved to Nova Scotia and decided it was time for me to start volunteering. So I started volunteering with ground search and rescue here on the eastern shore of Nova Scotia. And very quickly, I was promoted up to the director of training for the team. And I served with them for about 5 years. Um, I did subsequently leave to join the fire department. Um, there's only so much volunteering one person can do. So I did step away from the team, but I still have very close ties with them.
Okay, that's great. What led you to join Please Bring Me Home?
Well, please bring me home. It was an opportunity for me, to be honest. When Jack and Lily went missing, I received a notification about it, and I started listening into the broadcastified dispatches. And at that point in time, I really, really regretted not being with search and rescue anymore. Um, Once I left the fire department, I became a single father. So a lot of my time is spent with my son who has autism. And that was, it really struck a chord with me, these two children going missing, not being able to volunteer with ground search and rescue the way I should be able to. And, I saw the opportunity with Please Bring Me Home. I decided to go out and do it. And I met them at the Jesse Morrissey search the day before Jack and Lily's search. And I got a sense from them right away that they know what they're doing. It's like the other people in search and rescue that I've worked with before. Um, Nick, Carrie, James, they are all top notch. They know what they're doing. And I felt like this was for me for sure.
Okay, that's awesome. I can relate. I know that just you being a father and with a son with autism, that would have aligned a lot with your heart and pulling you into this case and wanting to do something about it. And I can imagine you were quite frustrated that you weren't with the GSAR anymore.
Yeah, it was very frustrating listening, knowing that, I am an asset. I could be on the ground out there helping them out as much as I could. But at the end of the day, I mean, our ground search and rescue teams here in Nova Scotia are among the best in the world. I have to say that straight out.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I'm actually have along the bottom there, everyone in chat. I've put up the links for both Please Bring Me Home, as well as the grounds or the search and rescue for Nova Scotia, their websites. If you wanted to learn more or make a donation to them, I'm sure they would be welcome with that as well. So, yes, how did you find the links actually are also in the chat here at the top. They're pinned to the top. How did you find the difference between the Jesse Morrissey search and um, Lily and Jack's? I know I didn't prepare you for that question, but it just occurred to me.
No, that's a good question. The Jesse Morrissey search was more of a targeted search. Obviously, a lot less people volunteered for that. Jack and Lily is huge; it has a huge draw. But we did receive some information, and we were able to go over a lot of possibilities that hadn't been gone over with before with our cadaver dog team, um, and just searching in general. We have a good sense, and I believe we're going to be going back out there to follow up.
Oh, that'll be great because I'm actually talking to a friend of the family of Jesse Morrissey's and putting together some information to do a live on Jesse Morrissey. So I might bring you back to talk a bit more about that after the next search or maybe before.
Yeah, definitely, I'd be willing to do that.
Okay, that's awesome. Um, so one of the things that sort of got me talking to you was the app about the lost person behavior because I was doing a lot of studying at the time about sort of how far children would go and where they could have made it with regards to their age and their size and the climate as well as the terrain. Can you tell me a bit about the lost person app? And also, for everyone that's wondering, if you look on the picture that introduces my this live, there is a icon for the lost person behavior app. I think it was designed by Fire Search and Rescue out of Virginia initially, but it's a widespread used app by many ground search and rescue, as well as military and police, is it not?
Yeah, it is. It's the standard. It's like a quick field guide, like a crash course. This is where you should be looking. This is the distance, etc. It was created by Robert Kester, who has compiled at this point, I believe it's 500,000 missing and lost person cases, and compiled them all into to statistics, so we can look at and get a quick glimpse of where we should be looking, how far they could have gone, and so on and so forth. And he's just about to put out a new edition of the lost person behavior. So
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome because I've downloaded it on my phone, and I've used it to sort of do a bit of analysis for Jack and Lily's case. But they use that app as well. This ground search and rescue team when they first came out for Jack and Lily's search, right?
yeah, absolutely. That's one of the biggest data sets we have to draw on with ground search and rescue. 500,000 cases, that's a lot of data, and it's very accurate,
Hmm.
very accurate.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on some of the stats that came out from that app. So, one of the things I found really intriguing was that 98% of missing children are actually found alive within the first 24 hours. So, that's a large percentage, isn't it, to be found within the first 24 hours of being lost?
It is, especially if you get there early. If you
Hmm.
get on site early, and you follow the models that they have in there, the likelihood that you're going to find them quickly is fairly high.
Yes. And they have what's called the wheel, right? The wheel of searching. Can you sort of
Yeah.
describe that a bit? I'm going to bring up this map actually, if you don't mind. It's the RCMP
Okay.
search map, and it's got sort of like the wheel on it. And that might sort of give people an idea of what we're talking about. Um,
Yeah.
so you've got the inner ring, right? And then you've got an outer ring, and then you've got the absolute outer ring, and then you've got sort of sections within that, like the spokes, so to speak.
Exactly, exactly. And you see that here very well, actually.
Yes, so this was, do you know, was this the original search that was done by the RCMP and GSAR, or is this a total culmination? I'm not 100% sure myself, but
Just from what I know about the searches, this is not the total culmination. This may have been within the first few days.
right.
Um, you can see that they prioritize that center ring, like the
Yeah,
hub. That would have
yes,
been searched very, very well. And then you can
yeah,
see it branching off into the spokes, so to speak. And then you have what is the rim or the tire, which is the outer perimeter based on, and that's not really listed in the lost person behavior app. It would be in the ISRID. It would give you if you know how long a subject has been gone, you can estimate how far they would have gone. So what you want to do is get to the outer range of that and work your way
mhm,
in. So you'd have you would have teams there watching roadways, doing cutoffs pretty much,
right.
making sure that they don't get outside of that boundary.
Right. And I recall because I listened to the dispatch audio ad nauseum pretty much,
Yeah.
repeated. And I also have the transcript. So I've read it and read it and read it and read it. And I recall there being a gentleman initially that came out from the ground search and rescue that said to consider that the children could have made it 6 kilometers by that point had they last been seen at 8 a.m. by the time they had got there. Does that sound about
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I remember hearing that going across dispatch as well. And I think what happened there was there may have been a discrepancy from when the parents last physically saw Jack and Lily to when they last heard Jack and Lily. Now, um, it's best last seen to start the timeline from that point. So it is possible that they could have made it that far.
Right. um, So one of the other things based on that, one of the other statistics provided in that lost person behavior app was that 50% of children are found within half a kilometer. And then you have 75% of the children that are this, and this is based on children aged 4 to 6,
Yeah.
based on this terrain and based on the climate as well. Um, 75% of children would be found within 1.2 kilometers away. But all in all, 95% children would have been found within a 6.6 kilometers.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So from looking at this wheel, so to speak, um, I believe that outer wheel was a 6 to 8 kilometer radius. Do you know yourself?
Just looking at it, I think that's 1, 2, and 3 kilometers, those rings.
Okay.
Um, I have since done some mapping of the area, and 6 kilometers would be beyond that outer ring for sure.
Okay. So that being said, if that's only 3 kilometers, um, I feel that what do you think based on actually being seeing that location yourself about the search area? Do you think like that 6 kilometers would be a lot or like through the woods, or do you think that's kind of possible through trails? I think we talked about this a bit before, like, and I know Nick said that it would be very difficult for, say, Jack to even go 5 feet into some of those areas on his own. So
Yeah,
what
definitely.
do you feel about the say where would you search, or where do you think things could be expanded, or do you think it's been thorough enough?
Well, I have had the opportunity to see what they have done within these rings, and the amount of searching that they've done within those rings has been absolutely meticulous. I will say that. It's not even shown on this map how meticulous it's been gone over. Now, if we're talking about walking through the dense brush, um, through the woods, not sticking to pathways, I don't think they would have made it outside of this before they were overcome with hypothermia, to be honest.
Hmm,
Now, if they did take trails, it is possible they could be outside of that.
right. Um, you were telling me about a case that you had worked on before. I believe you said it might have been in Ontario, where
Yeah.
it was under the OPP jurisdiction, so Ontario Provincial Police, and they had done, I believe you said, 3 searches, and then an additional. Was it Please Bring Me Home, or was it Ground Search and Rescue that had gone out afterwards after they closed the
Uh,
scene?
no, without giving too much detail out of privacy for the family,
Yeah.
it was a despondent male. He was suicidal. He was having family issues, and he was one of my father's soldiers. And they had a location where he was. They pinged his cell phone. They knew the general area. They found his car. The OPP searched for 3 days. They had multiple dogs, and they couldn't find him. But after the scene was finally released from the OPP, my father put together a group of soldiers, and these soldiers went out to look for him. I did do some advising with my father, uh, just letting him know, as per lost person behavior. Uh, he most likely wouldn't have been very far into the woods, most likely would have been just out of sight. And the one thing, and it is in the lost person behavior, and it's really hard for people to think, but I told him to make sure that the searchers that he had looked up. And within less than 6 hours, they did locate this person, and that was the end of it. But one of the hardest things to do for searchers is to look places your brain really doesn't want to look,
Right.
and in that group it was a bunch of trained soldiers, and the RSM, he says you need to look here, and they did, and they located him rather quickly. So
Right. Well, I think actually because he was a soldier and soldiers were looking for him, it kind of gives an idea because they would know how far they could go, physically, mentally. They probably could relate to him as well, right? And his situation.
definitely.
That actually reminds me of a group out of the UK called All Call Signs. They are predominantly ex-military, and they deal with searching for soldiers that are despondent, that have sort of taken themselves away, likely a lot similar to this gentleman, and they really came about over a gentleman I actually knew, Daniel Johnson. Was he brought a lot of attention to PTSD in soldiers because he was only a young guy, and he had taken his own life in a forest, very similar to what you're describing, really. Went somewhere quiet, very far into the woods, hoping that no one would find him, right? Um, so yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think what I'd like to take from that is that our soldiers and military need more support with mental health. That's for sure, and that's across the world, really. If we're going to send uh, men and women out to fight for our freedoms, then when they get back, we need to be fighting for them and giving them the support they need. Um,
Definitely, and
but
it's starting to get better. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but it is starting to get better. So
Yeah, my father used to work for the Veterans Affairs Department a long time ago when he was alive, and things were quite tough even then in the 80s with Veterans Affairs, but I do hope it has improved since then. Um, but yes, on to the maps for Jack and Lily. So this is the one map that was just for the initial couple of days. I will clarify that it's not the overall map. It doesn't encompass all searches that have been done by the RCMP or Ground Search and Rescue. And I want to take a minute just to say hi to everyone as well. Thanks for coming in. Um, I'm going to take down this map and bring up the map from Please Bring Me Home that Nick did for the various groups that went out on and searched that day. So I'll just remove this one and add this one, but I might have to go in and zoom it in a bit. So just give me one moment. Mm, what I'll do is I'll make it a bit bigger. Let's see if that works. Nope, that's not what I don't want to do. Can you all see that okay on in the chat? Or do I need to zoom it in for you? Let me know, someone. You can see it? Okay. Um, can you see it, Damien? It's I'm
yeah,
freaking
I can see
blind.
it.
Let me see if I can see it. All right. If you can see it, do you want to walk us through sort of the various teams? I can kind of see what I'm looking at here. Um, so Where the white line is, that looks to me as though that is like the um, railroad tracks or close to it.
It appears that way, yeah. I'm trying to see. I'm
And
gonna bring it up on my phone because I do have the map in front of me here, so I'll be able to zoom right in.
and the orange line goes down to what it looks to me is the logging road. And it goes all the way up to the pipeline trail, with a deviation off to a water source. And
Yes,
where the tip of the orange line is on the pipeline trail is just close to where the boot prints were, well, the cluster of boot prints were found allegedly.
yeah,
Um, and then if you go to the green line, you are going down Lansdowne Station Road and then up behind to uh, Gairloch Road over to Lansdowne Lake, following the south side of the lake, and
yes,
then up to the pipeline trail.
that's correct.
Okay. And then you see all the dots along the way. They are then going down Lansdowne Station Road to McLeod Road, and we won't get into that one, but they turned
Yeah,
around in that area and came back and went another way.
that is correct.
Yeah, so it looks like they went quite far up the group with the white line. So they've gone all the way up the train tracks past the 2 trails. We've got the one trail and then the pipeline actually. So and following around several different waterways.
Yes, that's correct. And that was that was the target for the day was all of the possible bodies of water that could have been in the area that Jack and Lily went. There's a lot more. If you take a look down at the bottom left where Group 5 and Group 4 converge, that
Right?
you can't really see it on a map, but that is like a floodplain where water would push down. And there is a stream there that would connect up to the middle river of Pictou eventually.
Do you happen to know if McLeod Road and Simpson Road 2 area was searched? Because I know Daphne's case files has been very, very interested in that area, because there was like a cross located in that area, slightly off the road, um, with some gravel along the bottom. And I do know that, if an animal is hit and that sort of thing, they will bury an animal like that. But it was
Yeah.
just a very strange area for it to
Yeah,
be.
I'm just going to bring up Simpson Road. I believe it kind of parallels the pipeline trail, but I'm just going to make sure here. Um,
It's closer to the Concord Bridge, if that's of any help.
Concord Bridge. Okay, let me see here. So Simpson number 2. Okay, that's right. Concord Bridge up near Middle River Road. I'm not sure what kind of searching has been performed in there, but that does follow along where the middle river of Pictou would go.
Yeah.
Um, Now I've seen the pictures of what appears to be a cross. I'm not sure if it's a cross. There is a lot of a blowdown from previous hurricanes. It could just be a tree that's on its side at an odd angle with another. But that's definitely something that it it should be taken a look at for sure. And
Yeah.
possibly when I'm in the area, I can take a drive by and just make sure of what it actually is. I did watch her stream last night, and I did try to take some notes about that. And I'm
Oh,
open to
that's
taking a
great.
look at anything that anyone comes up with.
Yes, definitely. If you Daphne said she's going to send it. Um yes, if you have any ideas that you would like that you think that Damien and or Please Bring Me Home should search on their next search. There will be more searches. There will be more RCMP searches. They're not going to stop searching. You heard Mad Dog McCammon. That's his new name. I've called him. He's not going to give up until the children are found. And whether you believe in the wandered off theory or not, chat, it is something they need to eliminate, right? They want to find the children, whether they wandered off or it's another theory, right? So it is important that they dot all their I's and cross all their T's, and they need to find the answers. So, they've brought out the cadaver dogs, and they obviously think something is in that woods or something's gone on in that area. So we've got to keep our we got to keep all options open at this point because we're not the detectives with all the answers. As much
Yeah,
as I
definitely.
think I am sometimes, but I'm not. I'm just shenanigans.
No, and this case, it's odd in where you have two children disappearing, and some of the stories are changing, and I don't want to speculate as to why they're changing. There could be reasons that are not um bad reasons that they're changing. It could be there's trauma in play, and maybe they're hearing something, or just trying to put it together in their head to explain what they can't explain. I don't know, but I do know every time children go missing, especially when a search is started, there's actually a parallel criminal investigation that automatically starts taking place. So, pretty much day one, when Jack and Lily went missing, yes, there was a missing persons case that was being looked at, but the
Mhm.
potential for criminality is always there. So it is standard for the RCMP or the other police force involved to start a parallel criminal investigation. So a lot of people don't know that, and maybe think that the RCMP dropped the ball. But between their body cams and what they're observing at the time, that's all recorded. So it is all being looked at.
Yes.
And one,
Mental note, everyone. Body cams worn by the RCMP and 70,000 images taken by drones.
yeah, yeah, and that's
I
the number
think
that
a
I've
lot was
seen
seen.
is 60,000 to 70,000 drone images were taken of that area. And it's a lot of information to process. But they do have people that will go through every single one of those pictures,
Yeah.
um, and make sure everything's gone through thoroughly. Um, I know
If you need
from
any
the
help,
police bring,
RCMP, I'm off work at the moment. I'll help look at pictures. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. I
yeah.
got all the time in the world. It saves me from running my mouth on here.
But one of the other things, a lot of people think that the RCMP have been like sitting back on this case, and that's not the truth at all. Um, when we were doing our after action review from the Please Bring Me Home case, we went through a lot of photographs, and some of the photographs came back with some images we were somewhat concerned about. We didn't really know what they were. And I have since personally been back. Um, to the area just to verify what we were seeing on those pictures. And it had already been gone over, searched. I can't say by who. I'm assuming either RCMP or GSAR. But we did go back and we verified everything up to the point of finding the actual terrain behind the picture, like a log and a tuft of grass here. We went to that extent to make sure we were going over everything thoroughly. So um, the police are really on the ball here.
Yes, I think so too. I think it's just hard because we're all so impatient, right? We're so used to watching Law and Order and 48 hours, and we just assume that a case is going to be wrapped up really quickly. But when you look at previous cases, even just based out of Nova Scotia, Devin Marsman or even Carissa Boudreau, they weren't brought in and solved in 48 hours. They weren't even I think it took 2 years plus to get someone charged for Devin. And it was, you know, a bit of a long haul for Penny Boudreau as well to get her behind bars. And so we just do have to be patient. And when Mad Dog McAmmon says that it's going to be resolved, then I believe him.
I think so too. I think there's a high possibility it will be resolved within, I don't want to give a timeline to it, but in the Devin Marsman case, I believe they had their suspect very early in the case. It just took a long time to actually build the case.
Yeah.
Um, Now, the Jack and Lilly case, it's hard to say because there is still a real possibility they did wander away. I know ground search and rescue did go back to the pipeline for a weekend after the boot prints were found, and you know, taking a look at things, it's like, well, if there was boot prints found, why didn't they go right away? And that's because there was an inconsistency between what the parents said the size of the boot was for Lily. It didn't quite match at the time. And then afterwards, after the fact, they did find, well, actually it did. So they did go and revisit that. Um, I'm like I said, I tried to find out to the extent that they searched on the pipeline after that, but I haven't been able to see that information. So, that is still a possibility here.
Yeah. Um, And I think that as well. Um, Now, if you were going to receive tips on where to look, should they send them um, to Please Bring Me Home, or what would be the best way to send tips on where to search for the next search? Of course, obviously, besides the major crime unit.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you're not comfortable giving any tips, whether it's, knowledge of what actually happened, if somebody out there does know what happened with Jack and Lily and they can't bring themselves to tell the RCMP, please bring me home is there. You can contact them. And the same thing for general tips. I've personally received a lot of tips. It became overwhelming for myself. I'm not equipped to deal with all of that. So, at this point, please bring me home. Does have a email and a tip line, and it should be directed to them, and it will be looked at, and it will be actioned. I mean, um, I remember in the lead up to the first search we did back in November, there was a lot of focus on the heat sources from the thermal drone. Um, and Please Bring Me Home wanted to make a point of actually going there and looking at it very thoroughly. And it turns out that the RCMP and GSAR did return and they did do a thorough look at that area. So, you know, it's possible it would have been overlooked, so it's good to have tips like that coming in.
Definitely. And I know everyone in chat is always like, oh, they didn't wander off. And Damien's not here to give credence to any theory. Even if he didn't want to be, he has to be impartial. So that
Yeah,
is
and for me, the impartiality, it does come from, I'm involved with searches on the ground, even in the wintertime. There are still searches being planned. We don't have firm dates for them at this point, but in the case that, myself or my team does come across evidence, um, if I'm out here giving theories or looking at things from an investigative perspective, it could complicate things in court if it came down to that. Um, and just in general, I give people the benefit of the doubt. Um, it's possible they did walk away, and I don't want to be making a mistake, making an accusation or an implication that could be wrong. But that being said, at this point, we don't know what happened. Anybody at this point could be right. One of us is definitely right with all of the theories that people have. So I'm not going to knock people for having those thoughts at all.
No, definitely. It's important for everyone to have a broad view of things, just to see, we don't know what happened. We can all assume all we want based on, statistics and, what was going on at the home at the time. But ultimately, no, none of us were in that home, and I know that I'm guilty myself of throwing them all under the bus. I've done it myself. But I would feel like a complete ass if I was wrong. So, um, I'd wanted you to come up today because I wanted to go over the maps, to go over what RCMP have searched, to go over what Ground Search and Rescue have searched, to talk about what the application that they used, which was the Lost Person Behavior app, which is compiled of, you said, over 500 missing or lost person cases. And that's based on statistic and fact, right? And
Yeah.
it's important that people know those sort of things, and those that have just come in, resolved and solved. We're not going to go into the thesaurus right now, my babies. But I'm going to go through again a couple of the facts, which was based on over 500 cases compiled of people that had wandered off,
Yeah.
particularly
So it's
children.
it's 500,000. So these stats
500,000.
are these stats are
Sorry,
very,
that is
very solid.
drastically more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, that is very important to say.
Yes.
500,000 compiled cases. Okay. Um, 98% of missing children are found alive within the first 24 hours. Half, so 50% of children are found within half a kilometer of where they were last seen. 75% of children will have been found within 1.2 kilometers of where they were last seen. And all in all, 95% of children will be within 6.6 kilometers. So, that being said, I think once the RCMP and Ground Search and Rescue can be um, assured that they have thoroughly searched a 6.6 kilometer radius. Like I said, they want to dot their I's, they want to cross their T's, then they will feel more comfortable maybe going in a different direction. But they've said they have all options on the table, and they need to keep in mind, if should there be criminal charges in the future, they need to make sure that everything is laid out properly and there is no room for error, right? In a case like this, they don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, definitely. And in a case like this, you can't get it wrong. I mean, it's two children. There's a lot at stake here, so they need to make sure that every possibility is thoroughly investigated. And I would say that um, because I haven't seen the latest maps, I think by now they're pretty close to that 6.6 kilometer radius being thoroughly searched. And when ground search and rescue here in Nova Scotia searches a radius like that, they are extremely thorough. Like I'm talking, if you can't see 2 feet to your side, they're gonna
Mhm.
have somebody in between that to make sure shoulder to shoulder if it comes down to that. So
Yes, and Sergeant Mad Dog McCammon did say that he would be out for further searches should they have specific areas that they need to search. So, in my mind, I do feel that they have searched all areas that they felt should have been searched, and that now it's going to be more targeted based on investigative leads, something that tells them you need to search here, you need to search there. So I do feel that they've gotten, like you said, to a very large perimeter where they can eliminate that most areas have been searched in that in that area.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
do you know much about like cadaver dogs or search dogs and what kind of dogs might have been used in the search so far?
Yeah, so the ground search and rescue search, now typically they use like German Shepherds or maybe Labs. I know the Halifax Fire urban search and rescue did have their dogs out in the initial search. I'm not sure what breed they're using, but in general, it's either Labs or German Shepherds that are going out. I have heard that there may have been a bloodhound out that does actual nose to the ground tracking, but I haven't been able to confirm that. Um, the one thing I will say about the dogs is that they're good when they're on, they are on. But there are certain times that they're not on. Either the wind is pushing the scent pool in a different direction or whatnot. Um, and that case in Ontario, the OPP dog team was actually on the trail right beside where that individual was found and didn't pick up his scent. So they're not 100%, um,
Right.
which is why it's important for them to go back over areas.
Hmm.
Please Bring Me Home does have a cadaver dog team that is out there. Um, and they have been out twice, I believe it is, since our main search. And their biggest concern is they don't want people in the area interfering with what they're doing. And I understand that. So they don't really advertise when they're going out. They know where they need to go. They know what they need to do, and they go and do it and report back to us at the end of that. So
Yes, I know a lot of people have reached out to me because they want to search. They want to feel like they are doing something. I would suggest strongly that you don't go out and search. And I would say to join your local ground and search and rescue, join your local fire department, contact Please Bring Me Home, become a volunteer, and do it that way. That way, it is done in a proper uh, grid search. If anything is found, it can be, logged accordingly and treated as evidence, right? So they
yeah,
can't just have any, pardon my language, Tom, Dick, and Harry going out searching the woods and searching the trails for Jack and Lily or for evidence of Jack and Lily. It's just it will be harder to hold up in court. So I advise that you don't do that. And if you want to volunteer to search, to volunteer with a proper organization that's involved.
yeah, and I definitely second that. That's why I wanted you to put up the SAR Nova Scotia GSAR teams. It's a list of all the local teams in Nova Scotia. So if you go on that website, you can find out which team is in your area and get in contact with them. And then aside from that, Please Bring Me Home. When we do our search in the spring, we are going to need volunteers. So if this is something you're able to do and interested in doing, definitely reach out because any help is needed at this point. Um, Now, a lot of missing people are found by people just out hunting or walking their dogs, and that's fine. Just in this case, when I go out with my small team, I wear a body camera. I record myself leaving my home to the scene, from the scene back to home, and I save all that information. Um, in this case, there is some strange things going on. And in the case that something is found, it's just better to have that recorded and documented if it does end up in court.
Yes, exactly. And I didn't really want to touch on it, but we do know there was some instances of slight, I don't want to use the word intimidation, but there was some butting of heads in the last search. And unless you are, uh, I just wouldn't suggest anybody goes out and does a search on your own unless you are, have experience with search and rescue yourself, and it's dangerous. You could be injured, and as you know, it's very treacherous. Basically, there's lots of fallen trees. If you're not familiar with Pitt County, the hurricane that went through there was incredibly destructive to the forest and vegetation there. And you know, if you don't have experience in that kind of terrain, I would not suggest it. And like I said, you can join. You know, if you happen to be walking your dog and you live in the local area and you happen to come across something, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying don't go out and put your life on the line or you know your well-being on the line for it. There will be some organized searches coming up in the future, so just volunteer for those, and it can be organized and documented properly.
Yeah, definitely. And when I do go out, I always communicate with Nick with Please Bring Me Home. And he's in contact with the RCMP, so he notifies them that we're going out. The RCMP are very aware when people are in the area, and they do at times ask us if it was one of our teams or not. The other thing that I do is I I do have an app on my phone called CalTopo. Rogers donated some satellite internet connections for Please Bring Me Home. So when I go out on a search, Nick is actually able to watch me on a live map and see exactly where I am in case something happens, I get hurt or you know, I'm lost. He's able to actually see what I'm doing. And in that area, it's very easy to get lost or injured. So,
Mhm. Well, there was one of the groups that did get lost, didn't they, on that search, and they had that satellite, technology, provided by Rogers, and even that didn't pick them up for I think it was 30 minutes, and Nick was having a little mild heart attack himself, wasn't he?
yeah, definitely. He actually picked me up to bring my drone out to try to find them.
Yeah,
Thankfully, by the time we got on site, they did make their way out to the road. But you know,
yeah,
it's very easy to get lost out there.
yeah.
So,
And that was, you know, somebody with a professional searcher with all the equipment. So that's why I'm advising you guys to just not do that. And I know that everyone has a huge heart that's in here and they just want to do anything they can to help find Jack and Lily. And I totally respect that. I absolutely do. But maybe, you know, maybe donate to the ground search and rescue if you can't get out yourself, or please bring me home or volunteer for them. That would be the best way that you can help. Because if you came across something or there was something nefarious that happened to Jack and Lily, people are going to be watching for that, and you just don't want to get yourself entangled with anything like that.
yeah. And I actually encourage anybody with an interest in searching in general, even if you're not the most physically capable, um, reach out to your local ground search and rescue team. Because if you're able to do something around the base camp, like helping out with logistics or even as a driver, that could free up another member that's able to go out and walk in those woods. So they're always looking for people that can assist and they're always grateful for it. So definitely.
Absolutely. I know of people that were out just to hand out the drinks and snacks and stuff like that. And oh, hold on a second. I got to Patriot Girl, thank you very much. I appreciate your $5 donation. The longer kids are gone, would dogs still be able to get a scent of decomposition? Example, weather.
Yeah. So in on the Jesse Morrissey search, we worked very closely with the cadaver dog team, and that is something that they can smell. They had a case, a historic case. I believe it was over 60 years, and the dog was able to sniff out the location of a missing person and close that case. And also, one of the things that we were talking about was in regards to the caves. Now, caves, you really don't want to put people inside of caves if you don't have to. But if the cadaver dogs are brought to the entrance of the cave, they could smell the scent pools that are coming out of that cave, and they'd be able to quickly clear it without risking humans. So um, that is a capability that they have.
Did you know anything about the mines that were searched there? Because I get this question a lot. I do know that they did have like the Ministry of Natural Resource Maps at one point that they were like collaborating with regards to mines and stuff. And I thought I heard that even a drone was flown into one. Is that correct? Or can you verify that?
Um, it's very possible. I know a drone was flown underneath the trailer on Lansdowne Road. Um,
Right.
to inspect underneath there. So it is very possible a drone could be flown into there, especially if there's a pilot that's pretty good with their equipment. Um,
Mhm.
that's something that could be done, and that's actually something that will be done the next time we're in the area doing searching for some of the culverts that we're unable to get to because the water's too deep or whatnot. Uh, we'll
Mhm.
we'll fly a drone right through them to inspect them. And drones are invaluable in cases like this. They can cover a huge amount of area, and they can also identify places that drones can't see and prioritize where boots on the ground actually need to go. So that's something that I'm taking a look into right now. Um, and you can imagine uh, the pipeline, it goes on for miles and miles and miles. So it's a huge endeavor, but it's something that is being planned and looked at right now. So
Great. And yes, there are more searches that are being planned coming up, probably likely before the spring and in the spring. So that's why I was saying if you want to actually be productive and be a member of the search team, then I strongly suggest you click on one of the links there on the top of the chat or copy and paste that's going along the bottom there and join an organized team or an organization to help do that. And I think that would be beneficial for yourselves and for the organization. So I think that's the best way to do it um, if you're wanting to help.
absolutely. And I mean, before the spring search, I'm definitely going to be in contact with you and some of the other creators because I know a lot of locals are actually watching these streams. So the more people we can have coming out, the better. And I know a lot of people have their opinions and they think they know what actually happened. But I would suggest that even if you have those thoughts, that doesn't lead to the wandering theory that maybe come out with us,
Mhm.
explore that possibility and debunk it. The
Yeah,
more people, the better. And the one thing, and Nick brought this up, the majority of the volunteers with Please Bring Me Home were women, you
yeah,
know, and that actually says a lot. So I'd like to see a lot of
because we're so
everybody.
nosy.
No, it's because of that maternal instinct, something as a single father, I've actually realized it, like it's one thing to be working and raising a child, but when you're home raising that child for the majority of the time, it creates something inside of you that's stronger than anything you could believe. And a lot of women have that, and men don't get to experience it for the most part. So
Called Mama Bear and Instinct.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
So
and a lot
I
of the
mean,
women I talk to have that innate feeling within themselves that feel compelled. That's why there are so many women that are into true crime, that are into helping with finding missing children because they have that feeling in their heart that they just can't imagine that happening to their own children. And what can they do to fix this scenario? And it's a fundamental wrong to have two children disappear um, into nothingness, and it's yeah, just in our nature that we just can't sit by and let something like that happen because we just feel like, what if that was our children? What and how could this happen, right? So, and we are because people don't like to hear this, but because women are more likely to be on the receiving end of violence and have been for centuries, we have an instinct to to notice things that not everyone does. So, as unfortunate as it is, it's a great sense that we have, that we need to listen to and use. Um, instinct and spidey senses. Yes, that's what I call it. My spidey sense.
No, definitely. And I mean, I was team four on the Please Bring Me Home search, and I had three women with me, and I didn't really need to do any coaching. The second we got into those woods, they were doing everything you could ever expect, looking under those logs that they could have gotten under, um, taking a look at the blown down trees, the root balls that could be like 12 feet high. They were going under those, looking everywhere. It's an amazing thing to see, honestly.
Yeah, we're underestimated often, but we're all used to it. But yes, I think man or woman, if you are wanting to make a real difference, then volunteer for Please Bring Me Home or your local ground search and rescue. There's also the Nova Scotia Guard now as well that they've created here in Nova Scotia, which is a sort of all encompassing group where you can really put your any skills to good use. So something to keep in mind. And thank you, Chelsea, for coming in. I realize now that you are in chat, and that I hope that you and your mom are doing well in this difficult and stressful time right now, in particular.
Yeah, my heart goes out to Chalsa and Belinda and the rest of the family, all of the family that are, all of Jack and Lily's loved ones. I can't even imagine how I would feel um, in their situation right now. And, that's part of what motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's what we all found was Belinda's heartfelt pleas for Jack and Lily, which is what keeps us all focused on trying to find out what happened to them. But yes, I'd like to have you on again sometime. I know that I'll be covering Kenley Matheson's case on Wednesday and with Nova, and I will be going over the Jesse Morrissey case as well. So I'd like to bring you on for that as well, if you don't mind. But I feel
Yeah,
like I've probably
definitely.
taken up quite a bit of your time already. I know you've been on here for an hour. I really appreciate you coming on and discussing this with me. And I'm very happy that I'm the first person that you've decided to come up on a YouTube live with. I feel privileged.
No, thank you for having me. I was really nervous. I don't feel nervous at all. You've made me feel really comfortable during this whole thing, and I'm happy to be here. I mean, this case is very important, and I appreciate every single perspective from every single creator out there. It's the only thing really keeping this case alive, and it's very important. So thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you as well. And thank you for your service. And I appreciate you again. And I will see you again soon. I will let you go off and finish your coffee.
Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone. Thank
Okay,
you, everybody in
bye.
chat.
I'm going to stay on. I just wanted to read an article to you guys. If you want to go and chat, Damien, you can listen to me ramble for a bit longer.
All right, I'll hop in chat and turn this off. Thanks.
Okay, bye. Well, wasn't that nice? I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys learned quite a bit from that and got a bit of more insight into the search that went on, some statistics about the case with regarding to like the wandering off and that sort of thing. Um, and got to know a bit more about Damien, who's been in our chats and talking with all of you. And I will definitely have him come up again. So, yes, thanks again, Damien. Um, I want to just touch on, I think, I'm not sure if you are all aware, there was a new article that came out today in the Pick 2 Advocate. Belinda was speaking to one of their journalists, and I was going to go over that with you guys. And just bear with me a moment. And I wanted to thank everyone as well for, I've been getting a lot of messages, a lot of people confiding in me and with regards to scenarios that they've been in. And I just want to thank you all for doing that. And as usual, I keep those things, keep my sources to myself. So feel free to reach out whenever you need to. Let me just bring up this article and welcome in everyone that I didn't get to say hi to. I appreciate you all being here and trying to find answers for Jack and Lilly. It's been 8 months and 3 days since their disappearance. And I know that you're all feeling the same way as I do. And that's just, we want some answers and we want to know what happened to them because, as I mentioned, it's a fundamental wrong and this shouldn't be happening. And we're all feeling it. So let me get this. Let me just bring up this article. Give me one moment, please. All right, so here we have the lovely Belinda. And she was talking to the Pick2 advocate today. And I'm going to read that to you guys. And I found a couple of really interesting points in there. And write in the chat what you found the most intriguing out of that article. Oh, Jane, thank you. Thank you so much, Jane. I appreciate you. You're in all the chats too. I know that you're like me. Hello, Captain Injustice. I am better today. In case you didn't notice, I toned down my sarcasm today because ultimately it's about Jack and Lilly, and I was feeling rather serious about it. And it can't always be fun and games. Basic old broads. You are not basic. You're not old, but you may be a broad. Thank you very much for your super sticker. I appreciate you as well. You're new to the team. I haven't seen you before. Let me get reading this article. Bear with me. Can you all see? Do you like my new glasses? These are like the AB glasses. He inspired me to protect my eyeballs. So yes, thank you, AB, for that. Anyone able to update me on that? Darren said late joining. I don't know what he said. He's probably been rambling on about anti-government and how corrupt they all are and go Trump go or something like that. All right, so Belinda, credit to Kevin Adshade, the reporter at pick2countynews.ca. As the calendar turns, leaving 2025 in the rearview mirror, Belinda Gray is hopeful that the saga of the Sullivan children is close to being solved, not resolved. Her two grandchildren, 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old brother Jack, who has since turned 5, went missing last May 2nd said to have wandered off from their home in Lansdowne Station. They have not been seen since, despite a massive search for the two children involving hundreds of volunteers and police personnel in a case that has captured the attention of Canadians from coast to coast and unfortunately has led to a lot of online speculation about what exactly happened to the siblings. Very little evidence has been reportedly found with respect to their whereabouts, even the use of a cadaver dog, drones, police helicopters, and multiple searches. Gray said that a widely reported guarantee from the RCMP's Major Crime Unit this past week that the case will be solved has somewhat boosted her spirits. I'm hoping to get some good news one way or the other, she said in an interview from her home in Musquodoboit. Gray has previously said she doesn't believe the children are still alive, but she wants to see the uncertainty come to an end, if for no other reason to bring closure to those who care about the two children. It's given me hope that they're closer to figuring things out, she said. Gray, who is the paternal grandmother to the Sullivan siblings, said she's grateful that a lot of people have reached out to her to provide her some support and a sense of positivity, just when you think the world is as evil as it can be. The children's biological father, Cody Sullivan, doesn't talk about the disappearance of his two children, she added. My son and I have never been really close. He's closer to his father. We talk occasionally, but most of the time he doesn't want to discuss Jack and Lilly at all. He says if he doesn't have to hear about it, he doesn't have to think about it, Gray said. Nova Scotia RCMP Criminal Operations Officer Dan Morris told the media recently that police have received more than 1,000 tips from the public. More than 8,100 videos have been poured over, and 7 polygraph tests conducted on those closest to the children were passed, which has only deepened the mystery. As RCMP spokesperson told The Advocate on December 31st that the investigative team remains committed to pursuing every credible lead and determining with certainty what happened to Lily and Jack, but would provide no further comment. Gray said the holiday season, coming nearly 8 months since her grandchildren vanished, was a somber and quiet one for her. I stayed at home for the holidays. I just couldn't bring myself to go out for Christmas this year, she said. Oh, Belinda. My heart goes out to you. It really does. So, was there anything in that that stuck out to you? One of the things that really stood out to me was that they said 7 people close to the children. And it has been brought up. Oh, you were snarky pants for a while? Oh, okay. I recognize you. It was brought up this week somewhere that they were told that Justin Smith was the 7th person to take a polygraph test. So I do question how that could be if Justin Smith wasn't close to the children. And it clearly says that 7 people closest to the children were polygraphed. Closest. Anything else that you guys picked out? Thank you. Squid. You were telling me, see you in 4 hours, and then you come in late. Nay to you. Solved, yes. A lot of people have been picking up, on wording, which I get it. I do it too. Saying, oh, they said resolved, not solved. Well, resolved means solved, finished, completed, resolved, solved. I mean, this one says solved. If they meant close in the vicinity, Callie, Cindy wasn't close in the vicinity. Wade wasn't close in the vicinity. And Cody wasn't close in the vicinity. So, exactly. If Justin was polygraphed, you can be pretty damn sure Brad Wong would have been polygraphed too, right? Hello, Lori. Good to see you. You were here all along? Liar. No, I believe you. I believe you. Yes, Ernestine, I was really glad to hear that Belinda was feeling more hopeful, um, because I know she's been through the ringer in the last few days. Definitely. Um, yes, as strangers to Lily and Jack, we all need answers, but can't even begin to imagine what the family is going through. Yep. Yeah. And from what I'm hearing, Malaya is still in the hospital. So, and I also was referring to Justin Smith. Like, I don't know. That's what they were saying, that it was Justin Smith. And I mean, I would be more inclined to believe it if it was Justin Martell, if anybody wants to set me straight. The gemist, thank you. Thank you. You're all advocating for Jack and Lily by being here. Um, and like I said, please, please, if you are wanting to um, help with the next search, then please join the ground search and rescue, as well as please bring me home for the next search. Sign up, get your name in there, get the documents ready so that when they announce the next one, that you can be there. Right. What else did I want to cover today? I was only going to do a shorty. I know that um, Shar's going live soon. She messaged me, so she's probably going live in 5 minutes. That's all right, Jane. I just meant like if you wanted to go out and search, that it's more wise to go searching with an organization, right? Than just going out on your own. Cool as a cucumber. Wish the main news outlets would file more Freedom of Information Acts on this case. I I agree, but when you think about as we were discussing earlier, um, the massacre that occurred, the Freedom of Information uh, articles didn't were hard to get initially. We had to wait pretty much to when they were doing the after the investigation, when they were doing the like the review. So with it being um, with it being no, that's allegedly Justin Smith did small jobs for Janie. No, I think he helped her with her vehicle one time, I think was said. Mayflower. I don't know. Um, but yes, cool as a cucumber. I wish you would just set up an email, a fake one, and email me so we could chat. Because I really would. I know you're very knowledgeable, and I'd like to bounce a few things off of your brain. Yeah, yes. Patty, I thought was the seventh as well. We were all very, oh, you know, under the impression that Patty was the seventh. So I'm not sure where it came in with that. Um, yes, I agree, Lisa, yeah. Mike MX1, yes, did a good video and said Patty was the 7th, and he's done another one today as well. Yes, Charmaine probably put it to members only to avoid the shenanigans. Not me personally, but general shenanigans. Yes, I agree, Violet. Yes, I concur. Cool as a cucumber, you shady little bugger. Can you email me again so I know who you are? Then I'll ask you the right questions. Huh? Huh? Please? Please, please, pretty please. I'd say it be people who made calls that morning to be polygraphed. I hope so. Oh, thank you, Ernestine. Thank you. I will likely see you at the next search. Thank you for the great live. Yes, justice for Lily and Jack, because that's what we're all here for. And sometimes, sometimes I do forget that this is, real life. And I've always been someone who kind of clowns around and, makes a bit of laugh of stuff. And I will continue to do that. But sometimes there's a time and a place for it, right? Well, cool as a cucumber. You must see where I'm coming from. If you were the one that wanted me to give you my phone number, that might be why. Because I don't give anyone my phone number. I have my face out there, and that's risky enough, in my opinion. And if you think the way I do and say the things you say, you must understand why. I'm happy to speak with anyone over the phone, but I'll do it through Facebook Messenger or I'll call you private number. And I speak to multiple people every day, and they're happy with that arrangement. I'm a mom first, right? It's fixed there. Thank you, Shenanigans. Okay, thank you. Um, but yeah, I think that's basically what I wanted to cover for tonight. I've got a lot to get ready for. I'm gonna do a live tomorrow, probably afternoon, not too late. And Wednesday, I am going on with Nova's Inquest, and we are going to be talking about Kenley Matheson's case, recent searches. Also, we are going to be talking, I believe we have Kenley's father that's going to be joining us as well. So I need to brush up a bit more on that case. I did follow it, but more information comes out all the time. So I want to be prepared for that. And I'm going to do a members only live on Friday, I think. So on Thursday, tomorrow I'm going to give out 5 memberships, and Thursday I'm going to give out 5 memberships because I want all of you to be there. Because you're all very integral and you're all awesome. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And see you, Chelsea. Tell your mom I'm thinking of her and thinking of you as well. And thank you, Damien, for coming up. I appreciate that. You giving me your time immensely. And your knowledge is immense and impressive. So thank you so much for that. And I will see you all soon. Please have a look at my outro because it is filled with unsolved and missing cases here in Canada. So they all matter. Hi, Mike. Good to see you. And thank you all for making it a great show. All right, guys. Au revoir. À bientôt. Je vous remercie pour être ici aujourd'hui. Esther, ça c'est pour toi. All right. Love you. Adios, amigos. Peace out.
Thinking about you every day, where you are. You used to be so close, and now you're far. And I remember we used to pray and wish upon a star. Now we ain't got no faith, 'cause the sky wasn't so cold in this part of my mind. When my eyes are closed, they overanalyze. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side. It's taking me slowly to the borderline. It was so long ago, but still I'm traumatized. I don't even know the light before my eyes. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side. No one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows the effect it had on me. And no one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows but me. Thinking about when you went away, it's so hard. Wonder what you'd have to say if you sent us a card. Ooh, sometimes I feel like I'm in a play and I don't know my part. Maybe if we meet again, I can make a start. Still wasn't so cold in this part of my mind. When my eyes are closed, they overanalyze. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side. It's taking me slowly to the borderline. It was so long ago, but still I'm traumatized. I don't even know the light before my eyes. The weight on my shoulders, the thorn in the side. No one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows the effect it had on me. And no one knows what it's like to be like me. And no one knows but me. Think about you every day, where you are.